Hey everybody, it's Marion here, and today we're going to hit on two more life strategies that just may help you improve your life. The first one is practice, practice, practice. In his book Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell tells us that 10,000 is the magic number for taking any skill that you have to a master level skill. This could be 10,000 hours. This could be 10,000 shots, hockey shots, pool shots. Mine's going. 10,000 is the magic number. After I had my little revelation that I can learn bank shots and I don't have to do those long shots, I started hanging out in, we actually had a pool room in the student union. We had the bowling alley side, which was the quarter tables and the foosball tables and everything. But I lived on campus, and on the other side of the hall, there was an actual pool room, and you get the tables. I don't even know if we had to pay for them or not. And I did. I went down, and I get obsessive about things sometimes, and I would practice for hours on end. Now, a couple people did show me things on how to put English on the cue ball. We didn't have the internet back then. I could probably search it now and find out all the things of, when you hit it top side and light and top side and low and all this other stuff, but I didn't. A few people showed me things, and I would just do the shots over and over and over until I could make the cue ball and whatever ball I was hitting it into go wherever I wanted to. This came into play in a lot of different ways. My favorite place to play at that point, this was back when 18-year-olds could still get into bars. We actually had a pub right on campus where we'd hang out. And there was a bar that's going to fit into either part 3 or 4 of this story very heavily. It was back beyond the last parking lot. It was an off-campus bar. It wasn't part of the college. And you got a lot of people that hung out there that were from the neighborhood. During the week, it was kind of like hanging out in somebody's basement. And on the weekend, you'd get kids from the different schools that had come over in a very different crowd. But during the week, it was kind of just a bunch of buddies hanging out shooting pool. Make no mistake about it. I put my hours in. I didn't know about the 10,000 shots or the 10,000 hours back then, but I've got a pretty good guess. I might have done that. When I put my quarter up on the table, those guys played me. They didn't let up, and a lot of them treated me like their little sister, but I wasn't the little sister that got let win. I played, and I played hard. When you play to your strengths, you quickly discover that it doesn't matter a whole lot what the other person does. As long as you get your opening, you can run the table. Now, there are some people, though, that instead of playing to win, in other words, make all their shots and get the 8 ball in, they play to not lose. And they do this by, instead of making good shots themselves, trying to lead you with just impossible shots. Now, a really good player makes his shots and always makes sure he leaves the cue ball somewhere where it's going to be difficult for you to shoot. That's fine. The ones that I found annoying were the ones that just made crappy shots, but still managed to think they were going to bury the cue ball on me. But see, my style of playing with the bank shots confounded them. Because while they could leave me behind the literal cue ball, or the literal 8 ball, I could always shoot my way out of that. I could bounce that ball off any 4 walls you wanted. There was one shot, for anyone that plays 8 ball, you shoot from behind the line. There's the dot where the cue ball has to be behind. And they try and make you lose by leaving your 8 ball down behind the line. And they'd miscue and they'd sink the cue ball. So you would have to shoot from behind the line and either hit. We played tough. depending on who you're playing, you either had to hit 3 banks or actually hit the 8 ball. Somebody had taught me. I didn't develop the shot myself. Somebody had taught me this 5 bank shot, which 9 out of 10 times, if the 8 ball was anywhere close to the pocket, you could put the 8 ball in without scratching. And if it wasn't, you got your 5 banks in. So I could play that way. The other thing that happened a lot, and this may point to a slight personality flaw on my part, I may be a little bit ornery, is I rise to the occasion when somebody tells me I can't do something. There's a quote from, I've got notes here. If you see me every so often, look over. It's a couple names and things. I want to make sure I didn't mess up the name. This guy was Walter Bagehot. And he said, the greatest pleasure in life is doing what people say you cannot do. You know what? I like that. Like I told you yesterday, I didn't trash talk. However, I took great joy in beating some of these guys. And this did tend to be a real guy thing. Girls, mixed teams, we'd all shoot it out on the same level, friend-wise or not friend-wise. But on the weekends, when you got the guys that didn't know me already, there were a few that would come in that were absolute positive jerks. Now, the story would change up a bit depending on whether I was the challenger or I already had control of the table. What would happen was if you won, you got control of the table, and then you'd rack for the next game and the challenger would break. That's what usually happened. You would think if they looked at my face, they might have gotten a hint. If they saw the slight flourish I might have just happened to thrown in when I racked the balls, they might have gotten a hint. But they'd sit there saying, what? I got to shoot against a girl? Where's your boyfriend? Why don't you send him over? I don't want to shoot against a girl. I would very quietly go about my business, get them all in, tighten up the rack, do a little flourish because, hey, it was fun. Then I'd run the friggin' table on them. Yeah, I said it. And that's where life strategy 3 comes in. I didn't understand what I was doing back then. I knew that when they got me upset, I could do this. I didn't understand the concept of anchoring. I understand it now. I had actually anchored my whole pre-routine, including that extra flourish with the rack. And there was the whole chalking up the pool cue and everything that went with it. When I got into that pattern, I won. 99 out of 100 times. And I never could quite understand it, how I got such laser focus. I do now. I had anchored all my resourceful states into that moment. And going through that exact routine would pull it up every time. So yes, 2 for today. Practice, practice, practice. Anchor your resourceful states and trigger those anchors and use them. We want someday we can go more into the whole anchoring. I've done a couple shows on that. I'll leave a link below for the last show I did on anchoring so you can see more about how to anchor a state and how to trigger it again and use it when you want. And with that, I'm out of here for tonight. Maybe I'll go find a pool table and practice. This is bringing back some fun memories. I wonder if it's like riding a bicycle. Ta-ta.